Class is being recorded. Okay. Now, this much of code I have written for the first period. Now I am going to improve this code for the client side. Client client will be used for the both sending and reading operations. Okay. So for that, now here, this is okay. Now in data input stream, this is a class of your input output package. Okay, this is the constructor. Within the constructor, I need to put what? I need to read. Okay, I need to read what? I need to use a method that is the method of what? This socket class. Okay, we need to use by the that method will be used by the accessed with the object name. So here you put this object socket obj socket. Okay, dot obj dot socket. So now get input stream. If you keep the mouse simply here, dot operator, you will get input stream. So that get input stream will be put here. Okay. After that, data output stream. Within this constructor, we need to put what? We need to put. This is also one method we need to use here. That is the part of your socket class. That socket class method, that is what your obj socket dot get output stream. Okay, now try to understand what we did here. Try to understand. So here whenever client wants to send, okay, that client, that moment user will type something, okay, that will be by a standard input device, your keyboard. So that will be read by this system dot in parameter. Okay, this is part of a system class. System class is part of your language package. Okay, so the standard in whatever the input, that will be read by system dot input, this parameter, and that will be read by a method that is read line method of your buffered reader. So buffered reader, that method will be accessed by only the object created. This is the object created. As I told you that in Java, methods will be accessed in two ways. One is that object method, otherwise class method. If you want to access it is the object method, you need to create that object. Okay, if you want to access that method as a class method, no need to create the object. So this is a object method, read line method. Object method of buffer reader class. So that object method will be accessed by this object. So I have written this. So whenever you put dot operator, you will get all the object methods of that class. Okay, simply. So by this method, read line method, it will read these letters. Okay, these system dot in. Okay, so now that will be sent to where? Okay, once it is being sent to, now once it is this system dot in data will be collected by read line. So that will be stored in where? In a string. That is what, suppose string str. So you have created a string type of variable str variable. It will hold string type of data. Now whatever the keyboard input sent by the user in client side, that will be read by the system dot in parameter, that will be collected by this read line method, and that will be stored in the string variable. Okay, now that string variable holds a string, so that is to be sent to the server to in which format? In which format? UTF format. That UTF format, for that we need to write a code of what we will use this object. Okay, so that object is equal to what? OS. OS is an object dot that method. This is the methods here. Write UTF. Write UTF. This method. So method always it has the brackets. Now within this bracket, I need to pass this string. So you accept this one. Now what happened? Try to understand. Now whatever the string stored in this variable that is collected from system.in parameter by this, okay, keyboard output that is taken over this system.in and handed over to this readline method. Now readline method stores that as a string in this variable. Now that will be passed to this method, write UTF method of your OS. OS is an object created for what? This data output stream. So data output stream role is that it allows data output stream allows the client app to send. Okay, data input stream allows the client to read from the server. Okay, now this string data will be converted into Unicode translation format. Translation format of 8-bit. It is 3 types format. It is of 8 bits. Okay, 16 bits. Okay, 32 bit also. 32 bit. 32 bit. Okay. Okay. Now here try to understand. Now the string type of data stored in this string variable converted into UTF format by this method. The method is part of this method of what? This data output stream class. Data output stream class. Okay, now once it is in Unicode translation UTF format, and that will be sent to whom? That will be sent to server, because it is a client, na? As we have discussed here, the client will be able to send both the read and write operations, Okay, now whenever the keyboard output means client sending anything, that will be converted into Unicode translation format. That is what, how it will be sent to whom, how it will be sent to this server. Okay, that is the thing. Okay, now you try to understand all this code that is to be kept under try and catch blocks. Okay, that is very important. Try and catch block, it starts from here. Okay, whatever the code you write, put in try block. What do you mean of try block? I will explain. This try block means it is the part of exception handling. Exception handling. What do you mean by exception handling? If within the statements of any statements, how many statements I have written? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If any statement out of these 6 statements, in any statement, exception means error. Any error occurs. Okay. Any error occurs. So now that error will be shown where? In catch block, handled by catch block. That is what catch block. How the catch block? Catch block, this is the syntax to write the catch block, exception E, and then brackets, flower braces. Then flower braces. Okay. Now this is the syntax. So after that, try to understand what do you mean of this. If any statement out of these all statements, anywhere, if you get any this is giving error. Why? Because this is what you need to keep in comment section. Okay, this is not part of your code. It is under, just for your understanding, I have written like here. So now after that you come here. So if any statement out of these all statement, if anywhere, if you get any error in the coding, so that error will be handled by this catch block. Okay, that error will be stored in this E variable. E stands for exception. Okay, and as an object, and that will be printed. So for that, here you need to put system dot out println out println bracket E. Now after that you terminate this semicolon. Now what happened? Whenever any error is there, that error stored in this variable as an object, that will be printed. Okay, whatever the error stored in this E means exception, that will be printed. So now what happened? Program will not be stopped. After that, if any line of statement, somewhat line of statement after this catch block. Now catch block is closed here. Okay, so after that, any line of code is there, that will be executed. That will be executed. So next line of code is what? We need to close these objects created for, this is one object, this is object socket, this is object, this is, we need to write the code to close these objects. So first write that object socket, okay, dot close, okay. This is a method to close that objects. Next what? Object, no object, data d in, d in what? D in the object for what? Data input string. D in dot close. Okay. Need to close that objects. After that, D out dot close bracket. Okay, these D in, okay, D out, there is no any object, that's why it is giving error. Object is this one, OS. So you change this as for the OS. Okay, now it is okay. Now object socket, this is object is okay, but it is giving error. Object socket cannot be resolved. We will check back that object dot close. Okay, we will check back why they are giving errors. Okay, so now here your main, this is your main class and this is your main method. Open brace, this is open. Two braces we need to put here, one brace only. So one more brace you keep here. So what do you mean of this? One brace for main method and one brace for your main class. So now you, where is that your try block? A try block is open here, try block is closed here. So see, now what happened? Okay, as I told you that your keyboard input, whatever you are typing to send to the server, that will be read by this system.in parameter passed in the constructor of input stream reader, and that will be read by read line method of your method, that is the method object method of your buffered reader, and stored in what? This string. Okay, now that will be converted into, because that string variable passed to write UTF method as a parameter. So whatever the data stored in string variable, that will be sent to this write UTF method. It will convert that string to Unicode translation format. Okay, now so what about that? Okay, now it is sending, that will be the part of sending. What about that receiving? Suppose server is sending, so now client is receiving. So how the client will receive that? So for the receiving, I have used this class, and this is the object I have used. So for this class of data input stream, part of your input output package, it will allow this client app for reading operation, for reading operation. So how that will be read by, here we need to use one, where should I write the code here? Output stream, buffered reader. Okay, now before this, okay, we will write the code just okay, this is okay. Now I will write the further. So you comment here, this code, you comment here, this is for comment here for sending, for sending. This much of code I have written for sending. To send to the server, to send to the server. Okay. Now use right here to send to the server. Now for reading operation, you comment here to read, to read, to read. Read from where? Read from means whatever the data that is being sent by the server to the client, that will be read. Na? So for read operation, you need to create some, suppose this is what, one, string one. String one, two variables you need to create, you put them as empty, and one more variable you create, that is what, string two. Okay, that is, you keep them as, okay. Now after that, terminate them, semicolon. Okay, now come down. Come down is what? So why it is giving error? Because you have created the variables, but you need to specify that they are which type of, string type of. You need to specify them as string type of. Okay. Now two variables created. Okay, str2, str1. These are they will hold string type of data. Now one variable used for your reading operation, one will be used for your sending operation. So now here, if you use any, suppose if it is a, you change it as per this str, no? So you change any one. So if you change this, okay. Now because now this is for your sending. Okay. This is okay. Okay, no issue. This is giving what? Local variable. Okay, you put here one. Okay, no issue. str, okay, str. So we will do one thing. So two variables I have created. Okay. So now try to understand. I will change the code here. While I am using the while loop here, while loop for what purpose? Try to understand. So a while loop always, now bracket starts. Here I will write a string method here. Str dot one method of equals. This equal method I will use here. That equal method. So I am keeping here one exclamation mark. So now it gives what? Try to understand. one string I will keep here, whatever the string, stop. Okay, stop. What do you mean of? Try to understand. So now while loop, it is open here. While loop is open here. Now try to understand. Whenever user sending, whenever from client side user is sending, so until it is not equal to stop. So whatever client is sending, that will be received by the server. So whenever user from client side send stop, client from client side user sending stop, so then stops. Okay, understood that? Until this from client side user whatever sending, so it is not stop, it is not equal to stop. So whatever client sending, server receives and prints. Whenever server receives stop, so it stops. Server will not receive anything. This is the syntax. Okay. So now within this while loop, you keep this total. Okay. Okay. Now try to understand what is happening here. Two variables are created, two are empty. Okay. So after that, while while loop started, so this much of code I have written. Now you no need to write the string, okay, because already string is defined here. So remove this. Okay. Now that str is equal to br dot read line. I mean of this code I have already explained. This much of code I have explained. After that, so this is also okay, done. Okay, now it is giving error. Why? Because try to understand. This str, that is for what? Your reading purpose. Okay. This str, that is being what? Reading purpose. So this is for what? Sending purpose. Okay. Sending purpose, that sending purpose. So if I remove this, okay. So then what? Whatever. Remove this one. So now it is okay. Now try to understand. This is the while loop. While loop open here. While loop close here. While loop. Where the while loop closed here. Okay, this is very interesting. Try to understand what is happening here. Code, somewhat lengthy code we are writing here. Okay, many objects have been created. Three classes we have used: socket class, data input stream class, and that is the data output stream class. Three objects created. This is for data output stream, data input stream object. This is the object for the socket class. So apart from this, now next one more object created for the buffer reader. Okay. Now within this buffer reader, after the buffer reader, within the buffer reader constructor, new input stream reader construct system.in I have kept. So two variables created, they are empty. While loop starts until the while within the while loop I have kept a statement. So that is the equals method I have used. Equals method, method of a string. Okay, string method. It is called a string method. It compares that. Okay, it is what this method is part of your string object. String is what? Our non-primitive data type. Non-primitive data type has the method. So many methods. Equals is a method. So it method compares that. So what it is comparing, whenever client sending the data, So if it is not equal to stop, so server receives. Whenever client sends stop, okay, so means server will not receive anything. So client is sending, okay. So this is the equals method of string, okay. Next is what? After that, str br read line. I told you that this is for what? This is for to read from the system.in. After that, it will be converted into this Unicode translation format to send. Okay. Now, okay. Now here, I'm writing here system dot out dot println. Println means what? We want to get the printout. Here, what we are getting the printout. That printout is what? Whenever this client is receiving anything, client is receiving, that will be printed here. That will be printed. Client receiving from where? Server. So that is to be stored in where? str2 string, this string, okay. So str2. Now you can simply comment here for your reference. Server output. Yeah, server says, simply you can say server says. Okay. Now, whatever. Okay. Okay. So now whatever server sending means server is sending means server says something to client. So that will be stored in this this variable string variable string2. Now that will be stored in this, that will be printed. Okay. This is for what? Read operation. Your read operation. So we can say that code, this variable and this line of code, where is this line of code? This line of code, both will be for what purpose? Read purpose. This string variable str2, that will store whatever server sending, that will be stored in this variable, and that will be we will get as a printout these two line of code for the read operation. And for sending from the client side, this variable for the send purpose, okay. Input stream variable here, client keyboard input will be read by this system.in, and that will be understood by this read line. Read line method, what it does, it reads the data at a time, line of text, okay. Reads a line of text, okay. Reads a line of text, okay. Now that will be stored in this string, okay. That will be sent to this method. The method will convert that into Unicode translation format. And how many lines for sending operation? Okay. Sending operation, one, this will, the total code, this total code to this total code. I will explain this total code and this also data output stream, this code. These two code will be used in our sending operation. Okay. After that, this method stores, reads that data lines of text, and that will be sent to whom? Sent to this method, write UTF method. So it will convert that string as a Unicode translation format. Okay. So this much of code for sending operation. This is and this variable for your read operation. Okay. Now try to understand. So now here one more code we need to write here. That is what? Whenever we are receiving from the server, okay. So that is in whenever we are sending, that is converted into Unicode format. Na? So whenever we are receiving from the server, that will be in Unicode format. Okay, that is to be converted by this this object. This object I will use here d in. Okay, dot. If I keep the dot operator, we will get methods. What method? Read UTF method. See that, where is that read byte, read UTF, read character, read UTF. This method, you use this method. So method must have the brackets. Now within this bracket, so you need to pass this str2, str2, str2. After that, termination, read UTF method. Okay. Why read UTF method? Try to understand. This string stores whatever the data that is being sent by the server, and server sending to the client. Client will receive the data and store this variable. After that, that variable, this str2 string variable, whatever holding that string type of data, now it is in which format? Unicode translation format. Now that will be that is passed to this read UTF method. That is the method of what? Your data input stream. Data input stream, this class will be used to read the input. So this method, read UTF method, this is the method of what? This is the method of your data input stream class. So that will be accessed by, this is data d in, this is an object. Okay. So now what it does, you comment here, it converts that into UTF to string. Okay, UTF to string. So you need to simply keep in your mind, whenever client is sending, the data will be converted UTF format. Okay. From at server side, that UTF will be converted into your string. From here, whenever client is receiving the data, so that received data in which format? UTF format. That is to be UTF from a Unicode translation format. So that is to be converted into string. That string conversion will be done by this read UTF method. Read UTF method. Okay. Now what you put here str2. Why? Because try to understand. Now str2 holds data that is sent by the server, okay, received by the client. Now that data is equal to, okay, so now it is okay. Now converted to a string type. Okay. Now that will be displayed by this printout statement. Okay. Get my point? How much of code for the writing operation, means sending operation, for reading operation? For reading operation, one empty string will be created. That empty string receives whatever the data sent by the server. Okay, now this string to hold the data sent by the server. Okay, now that is in which format? UTF format. So that will be passed to whom? This method, read UTF method. It converts that UTF into as a string. Okay, now that string holds the data and that will be displayed here. That is for read operation. For sending operation, from your side, client wants to send. Whenever client is sending, so user typing from the standard input device keyboard. Okay, whenever he is typing that standard input device data, standard input device keyboard. So whenever user typing, that will be read by this standard input device keyboard data by this system.in parameter. Okay, this is a parameter. It is part of your system class. System class is part of your language package. Now from this, the data will be read by object method of buffer reader. What is the object method? This is read line method. This read line method is part of your buffer reader that will be accessed by the object BR. So now it reads the data as a line of text. Okay, reads line of text. So now that will be stored in a string. Now that string will be whatever the data it holds will be sent to write UTF method to convert into the Unicode translation format. Okay, now it will be sent to the server. Okay, this much of code I have written. While loop I have used here until there is no any stop word by the client. Whatever the client is sending, server receives. Whenever client sends stop, okay. So whenever client sends stop, so that stop equals to this. I have put the stop keyword here. Whenever client sends stop, means that matches with this keyword stop, a string type of data. So it is not equal to stop. So continuous sending from the client, continuous sending, and server is receiving. Whenever client send this stop, I am not sending anything, stop. So whenever this is equal to stop, not equal to stop, client sending, server is receiving. Whenever this is equal to stop, so client will not send anything, server will not receive anything. Okay. So now this much code. So after that, I need to do one little bit of code. I need to write here. I am checking that. So first of all, let me finish these braces. What brace?